Baby, I'm wasted. All I wanna do is drive home to you, baby. I'm faded. All I wanna do is take you downtown, baby. I'm wasted. All I wanna do.
Good morning, guys. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's having a great day so far. And as always, welcome to another market review. Let's go ahead and get started. We had some interesting price action this morning. Kind of going to a little recap of what we have been discussing the past couple days. We're looking at this bigger range here to potentially come down to this range low. And from here, we're looking at a couple different possibilities, right? We discussed yesterday the possibility of coming here, deviating this low, which we did really nicely. We started to have some really nice accumulation price behavior, and we're looking to long potentially here to take this trade all the way up back to this range high once again. However, we didn't get any confirmations of that. And between last night and this morning, between some news, price aggressively came down, went under this low here, went inside the range towards supply. New York opened here around New York session and went lower again. So as of right now, there is no confirmation for any trading there. So we're gonna go ahead and take this out of the chart. We can officially say this distribution, this 1, 2, 3, is completed here by taking this range low. And now we're gonna see, guys, over here we only have liquidity. As we discussed on previous sessions, there is really nothing to hold the price up in here. So there is a big possibility that we're gonna see a rotation now to this range low in here, where we can potentially start accumulating here for higher. Now, there are a couple other scenarios that we can always look at, and one of them is going to be what we call a PO3. So we have a range, and we have what we call a deviation limit. So technically speaking, if price starts closing under this red line in here, this is considered like this range got lost. It's no longer valid, right? Now we're moving away from that range. However, as long as we're still here between the range low and the deviation limit, it is valid that the market can deliver a manipulation phase. And that is where you see people draw something like this. So you have your manipulation, you have your range, and then you have your expansion phase. So as of right now, price is super aggressive. So it doesn't look like that's gonna happen, but this is a scenario that you can always monitor. And if that were to happen, the technical target will actually be up here, and this will be our range. But again, you see how aggressive this price action is. So I am not really expecting this to happen at the moment. So as you see this really aggressive price action for the past hour, this is creating some supply up here. We're still within New York manipulation hour. It is the first hour of New York. So let's see what happens from here, right? There is really not a trade to be taken in here. And I was mentioning to you guys, we're in some choppy range conditions where, as you guys can see, there are different ranges playing. We had a range that we played here. We're looking to play here. We have this bigger range over here. There was almost a range in here. So as you guys can see, on this specific range in here, there are 3 possible ranges to be played. And when you see something like that, or you get a lot of trades, or the price action is very choppy and you gotta be very careful because everything can get invalidated very quickly, right? So at this point in time, There is really no trades to take on Bitcoin. We gotta be a little more patient, and we gotta continue to work on our plans to see what else we could identify on the near future. So as of right now, this range is gone, and most likely we are gonna be taking this range low over here. So really nothing interesting going there. Now, if we match this to USDT dominance, we kind of have something similar where we have this range we're talking about as a confluence for the Bitcoin short. And based on the fact that we are aggressively leaving this range, we can say that our expectational order flow it's going to be to come for this high over here, where we can potentially build a range here from this high to these lows and see if we can build a bigger distribution that is going to be a really nice confluence for crypto longs. Now, of course, it's going to take a while to confirm that. If you guys see this high over here, it is from February 5th. Right now it's the 11th, so we can say it's almost into a week. And in order for this to confirm as a range, we have to tap this line, the EQ. The only way that we can confirm a range is by pulling our range from high to low. And once the EQ is tapped, that's going to confirm a range. So we'll have to wait for the range to be confirmed. And then we have to wait for price to come up here, take the range high, come back inside the range, deviate again, and then we can look for the confirmations for crypto. And this can align really nice with Bitcoin as well. So now we just gotta be patient. And I'm gonna put an alert in here so I can be notified whenever this range confirms. I'm going to take that out of the screen for now since it's not a valid range for now. And I'm just gonna mark it like this so I know that I am watching a potential range in here. Now, if we overlap this with Bitcoin, let's put on the same time frame. So we have 30 minutes. Let's go here in 30 minutes. And you guys can see here how if we put some nice lines in here. Let's put some vertical lines. You guys can see here, these are exactly the same pivot points. So this is gonna build a really nice range if we happen to get it. This is gonna be aligned perfectly with Bitcoin, which is gonna be a really nice confluence if we happen to get this range to play out in the way we want it. And in that case, our range for Bitcoin is going to be pulled from this low to this high. And this range actually just confirmed now for Bitcoin. Now this is a range officially here. So now we just gotta be patient, guys. And then our plan will be to wait for price to come down here, deviate this low, get acceptance back, deviate again, and then look for higher. So that's gonna be our play right now for Bitcoin and for USDT. I've said that since there is not a lot of confluence from Bitcoin, altcoins are going to be on a similar dilemma, we can say it that way, where most ranges are going to get invalidated until Bitcoin officially confirms the direction. So it's better to stay patient also in the altcoin systems as well. We're just going to wait for this range to come up here. We're going to search some alerts over here in the high as well. And we're going to put that on the side for now. We're going to put an alert here on the bottom for Bitcoin as well. I'm going to keep monitoring this one as well to see what happens from here. But as of right now, nothing to be traded there. I was looking at shorting Aster over here. It does have a really nice range on Aster. However, on Aster, we haven't gotten a really good confirmation quite yet. I was kind of looking to see if we can actually get a nice break of structure, but it's been really choppy price action. So we do have our 1, 2, and 3, which is a nice confluence. We can see we have a model working here. We actually took also the liquidity here as well, which is really nice. But the only issue is there is not a really nice entry for Aster. We have a 1 minute break of structure in here. That occurred around 9:30 around New York Open. But I am not really convinced on this yet. So I would like to see a little bit more before I make any decisions on shorting Aster or anything like that. But we can say Aster is coming down again to this area here pretty soon. There is just something about this model that I am not really a big fan of. So I'm going to stay patient for now. We have liquidity here, we have liquidity here, we have liquidity here, liquidity here. And we also have all this liquidity here. So personally, not the biggest fan of this model, but it's something that I'm watching regardless. Then accumulations like SUI, we were talking about this one yesterday. This is completely invalidated. There is nothing here for now. We're gonna take that out. And at this point in time, there is nothing to do in SUI until we take this range low again here. And then we can potentially talk about new longs into SUI. So alert in there and we move on. Going into Ethereum, similar situation. We're waiting for this low to be taken out, so nothing going on here. Solana, looking exactly the same, range invalidated, waiting for this range low to be taken out before moving forward. Pepe, same story. So as you guys can see, until Bitcoin gives direction, there is no trade to be taken on out. So as of right now, we're just gonna continue to be patient there. XRP, similar story. And you guys can see they're all gonna look exactly the same. Dogecoin, exactly the same idea. After we have that potential short that is building over here, I am gonna keep an eye on this one. That is something that I am interested on because we could potentially take it down here to 40 cents. Syscoin, we're talking about this one for the past couple of days on stream, and this has been developing really nice up to this point. So we finally came to this red box that we had marked in here, but this confirmed the trade. The trade on this one was confirmed at 1:40 in the morning for me, 2 in the morning. So unfortunately, the entry, the timing was absolutely horrendous, but this was a valid trade to take. This was a short in here, really nice break of structuring here, really nice trade. However, it was just the timing perspective didn't play out well. This trade was actually a really nice trade with a 20 RR ratio, which is absolutely insane. But just the timing of the trade came really unfortunate. So we actually can see these guys as an example of how important it is to pre-plan the trades and be patient. If this was confirmed, for example, half an hour ago, this would be a banger trade for all of us. So we built this range for the past couple of days. We talked about this range for 3 days in a row. When the price got here, we said no, it's not enough. We want this red box to be tapped. And then we can see exactly that. Tap the red box, take the extreme liquidity here as a fourth tap, a sweep. Short entry, confirmation, take the trade all the way to the low. So this was a perfect example of a good trade. It's just the timing perspective didn't play this time, but this is how important it is to pre-plan your trades. We were expecting, watching for this. So if the trade confirms and we're available, we just execute the trade with confidence because we know that our system says this is a trade we want to take. So I'm gonna be waiting for re-entry on this one. I am gonna set an alert over here. And if we happen to get a mitigation of supply in a liquidity sweep, it would be expected to happen over here. Let me move this box a little bit to this side. These will be the POI that I am watching for a short. This will be the only place where I'll be interested on shorting this coin if we get a retest. Now, just because the trade is confirmed, guys, it doesn't mean now that we have to FOMO back into the trade, right? Let me show you why. The original trade was a 22 RR setup. And you guys might think, okay, the trade's still valid, right? But if you enter here, instead of getting 22 RR, now you're getting 2 RR. And there is no way to the risk. So it wouldn't make sense. Versus if the trade was confirmed at a decent time, we took it already, you guys will already be up around 6% of your account. And with that 6%, ultimately, you can still have partial position and cover any stop losses in case you were to be stopped out. So you can never lose money on that trade anymore. It's a guaranteed win. And that is the reason why, even though the trade's still valid, you don't want to enter this low because you lose 90% of the potential profits. It goes from a 22 RR to a 2 RR, which makes absolutely no sense. So just to be clear, guys, the only way that we would be interested of taking this trade is if the price were to come back to this red box over here for a supply mitigation and liquidity sweep. And we could, at this point, look for potential trades in there. Other than that, there is nothing to be traded in there. So we're going to put this aside. We're going to save it there with some alerts, and we go and enjoy our day. The next trade that we're looking at, Monad, we spoke about this on stream yesterday. We're looking at this accumulation here, and you guys can see how powerful this was. It was absolutely insane. You can see accumulation schematic number 1 over here, and the price just pumped straight into supply. So I'm still interested on this range. If price comes down here again slowly, I'm gonna be looking for longs in here, but we gotta be patient because we expect Bitcoin to potentially go lower. So there is really nothing to be traded here for now. ICP, just like every other altcoin, the range got cooked. But you guys can see something very interesting. We were talking about this one yesterday. We're looking for a trade. We didn't exactly get what we wanted, but you guys can see how the levels play out. You guys can see how once we come and we tap this green box, we get this pump on price of 6-7%. So you guys can see how powerful these levels can be, and that is the reason why we pre-plan the trades into these levels, because we know that if the price comes to these levels, we can expect these types of reactions. Again, as of right now, there's nothing to be traded in here, but this is a really nice example of how pre-planning into the right places, it's so powerful. So also this range is invalidated, nothing to be watched there for now, we just gotta remain patient. But something to note, you guys can see in a lot of charts look like this, where you have this slow grind down, where price is making lower highs and higher lows, lower highs and higher lows, lower highs, higher lows. Oh, sorry, higher lows, lower highs, higher lows, lower highs, higher lows, lower highs, which is actually really bullish. And the reason why is because eventually, when the price turns around, it's gonna be really easy for the price to sweep all this liquidity. So it's actually something you wanna see as price develops. This means that whenever the price reverses, it's going to be a very fast expansion to sweep all these levels because there's nothing to hold the price up. There is no supply areas. It's just gonna be a straight pump whenever the price reverses. Then going to Hyperliquid. If you guys remember a couple days ago, we were talking about shorting these, but we never got an entry. And you guys can see how this is playing out really nice. You have your Wyckoff distribution model, rotation to the range low is confirmed, and we have been grinding slowly down. So again, nothing to be traded on this one. We gotta be patient. So for now, as you guys can see, crypto, there is really nothing to be traded for now. We just gotta be patient there. But if we go to gold, gold is looking really interesting here. We have this range where you have your range high, you have your range low, really nice liquidity creation below. We have been talking about this as well. And now we have a first deviation of the range. So I am looking for price to potentially do something like this, come down here, spend some time, deviate again, and we can short gold all the way down to potentially $4,300. So watching this range on gold, we gotta be a little more patient. The first tap was on February 4th, around here. To the second tap that is developing, as of right now, we have 7 days. So at a minimum, we're gonna have at least 4 to 7 days into the third tap. So we still have plenty of time. Technically, we have until like February 18th to confirm a distribution, if it's gonna happen. So we gotta remain patient in there. And as far as silver goes, we're looking at potentially long in silver, but there is really nothing to be longed. It's come up to this supply, liquidity below. Down the way we can long this is it comes down again. So as of right now, nothing too long on silver for now. Going into oil, commodities, I was looking at this range over here for potential distributions. Nothing really happening. We're in the middle of nowhere. You have liquidity above, liquidity below. So the only thing you can do on oil, if you're gonna be trading commodities with me, you just gotta be patient as well. The only way to take this into a trade, go higher to short or go lower to long. There is nothing else in between. And then I don't really trade copper or platinum. I just watch them in case sometimes, but there is nothing to be traded there. Going into stocks, actually, let's go first into S&P 500. S&P 500, to me personally, in my opinion, it looks bearish. I think eventually with this exhaustion, it's gonna break down and it's gonna break down quick. We're having a really hard time having follow through to the upside, and you guys can see the supply levels acting really nice. And at the same time, we're creating a really nice top information here where you have this series of wicks that take each other. And if you guys look this as a bar candle pattern, you guys can see how beautiful of a top this is. So I will be expecting S&P 500 to be coming lower. These are very, very bearish top information. So personally, there is no longs on the S&P 500 for me. I am looking for shorts. But the hard part on this one is the S&P 500 futures, they move really fast, really aggressive moves. I don't like how fast this came up. This is a demand level now. So for me to short this, we'll have to see something like this. Have a slow move down, a slow move up again, and then we can short here for lower. But as of right now, with this aggressive price action, it's better to stay away because you're very vulnerable to just get a reaction from a demand level and it goes up higher to stop you out. So there is no reason why to lose money on that when you can just be patient and wait for a better entry. Now, interesting fact, going to a lower time frame, you guys can see something very interesting. We swept these highs and we're breaking structure back to bearish. So by price closing below this low in here now you're technically confirming a distribution. So something to note, this is going to be also bearish for crypto at the same time. A lot of people say, hey, when the stock market comes down, crypto is going to go up. It doesn't work like that, guys. If the stock market goes down, crypto is going to go down. There is absolutely no way around it. So keep an eye on that, guys. Not looking very bullish for the S&P 500. Going into the Japan market, really nothing going on there for us. You have liquidity above, liquidity below. So Japan market chilling for now. Looking at the Dow Jones, made an all-time high recently. All-time high, moving down lower again. Nothing to be traded right now. But of course, when something is an all-time high, you don't want to be long in that, right? It doesn't make sense to long something that is high. You want to long something that is low and short something that is high. So no trade to be taken on the Dow Jones for now, but just keep this as a confluence, right? Is at all-time high, so the most likely scenario is for this to come lower. Nasdaq chopping around, liquidity above, liquidity below, not looking very interesting from a trading perspective. And then those are going to be the major things I want to talk about today, guys. So for now, expecting possible lower, keeping an eye on Bitcoin for different ranges to play out. I'll be interested on trading from here. Watching Aster for this potential short. I'm going to see if we can push a little bit higher, take this liquidity and then go lower. Nothing on Nasdaq. All the altcoins we're talking about got invalidated. So nothing to really trade on alts for now. This Syscoin that I wanted to short actually confirmed the short around 2 in the morning. Unfortunately, I was sleeping, so there's nothing to be traded there. And we're looking at potentially shorting gold. So that's going to be the update for today, guys. Any questions, let us know. We're going to be looking at some poly marketplace to potentially share with you guys today as well. Enjoy your day, guys.